This is News 25 with Deanna O'Donnell and Unette Gentry. News 25, local news you can count on. News is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Give them a call, 727-9900. Today's news is also brought to you by Gunny's Air Conditioning and Heating. New service and repair. Call Gunny's 775-727-6800. Also brought to you by Nye Communities Coalition. Nye CC is your one-stop resource for employment services. Visit nyecc.org.
Welcome to News 25 here on KPVM TV and Ace Country Radio. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Unette Gentry. It is Tuesday, March 8th.
Well, a defendant accused of crimes against children is back in court, where she and her attorney discuss a possible plea agreement with the judge. And even if Vicki Buckley takes the deal, she still faces a number of years behind bars.
One of four defendants in a child abuse case from February of 2020 was seen in court Monday for a status check on a plea agreement being negotiated. Vicki Buckley appeared in front of Judge Robert Lane with her attorney Ronnie Boscovich in district court. The Nye County District Attorney's Office charged Buckley and three other Pahrump residents with multiple counts of child sexual assault, incest, and bestiality, among other charges. The alleged crimes were reported when a doctor alerted police to investigate an allegation of child sexual abuse inside a home in which three children were residing. Child Protective Services removed the children, and District Attorney Chris Arabia says it took 45 days for the home to be searched for evidence. Arabia says that gave the suspects plenty of time to destroy evidence. The DA adds that by that time, there was little evidence to support the initial charges. 39-year-old Eric Garcia, 30-year-old Mickey Cagle, 50-year-old Danny Hicks, and 49-year-old Vicki Buckley were arrested in connection with the case. The reported crimes were so heinous that the DA hoped he would be able to secure heavy sentences on the suspects. The children allegedly even reported that they were given alcohol that made them sick and that they were sexually abused by all suspects on multiple occasions. Buckley was facing 2 counts of sexual assault on a child under 14 and 2 counts of incest. The plea deal on the table at the moment is 1 count of child abuse and 1 count of coercion. Buckley faces 1 to 6 years on each count. Eric Garcia pled guilty to lewdness with a child and use of a minor in child pornography. He was sentenced to 10 years to life on each count. Danny Hicks pled guilty to 1 count of child abuse, striking a child. He went for a medical evaluation and is expected to receive probation. Mickey Cagle pled guilty to possession of child pornography and is facing 28 to 72 months. Buckley has not decided if she wants to take the plea deal and is scheduled to return to court in 2 weeks for the decision.
And News 25 recently learned of the death of a child that occurred in late December 2021 here in Pahrump. On December 20th, police were dispatched to the 200 block of Duck Creek Road in Comstock Park for a report of a baby who was deceased. According to witnesses, several individuals and other children were inside the home at the time. The Nye County Sheriff's Office says the Nevada Department of Investigation is handling the case in partnership with the Nye County District Attorney, Chris Arabia. He says he cannot comment on the case much further than to confirm that there is an investigation into the death of a child. He says that as soon as the investigation is complete, further information will be released. News 25 has reached out to the Nevada Department of Investigation for more information on this case, and we will bring that to you as soon as it becomes available.
Well, a woman accused of stealing one of Heidi Fleiss's beloved macaws is back in court, where she pleads guilty to the charge. But Fleiss says Lisa Huggins should have received a stiffer sentence.
Lisa Huggins appeared in justice court before Judge Lisa Chamley on March 2nd. Heidi Fleiss attended in court as the victim in this case after her bird was stolen by the defendant. Huggins pled guilty and was sentenced to 6 months in jail. Fleiss asked for her to get the death penalty for stealing Miller the macaw in mid-March of last year. The Nye County Sheriff's Office received tips about the theft, and Fleiss offered a $10,000 reward. She says it resulted in getting the beloved pet back, but that she was told by the police not to hand over the reward money because the tipster was involved in the theft. The defense attorney said that a negotiated deal was in the works for Huggins, which would have her spend 6 months volunteering at an animal shelter. Fleiss says Huggins should never be around animals.
And a man who reportedly made threats against women here in Pahrump is back in court as his case continues to move through the system. The next step for defendant Matthew Ursua is a mental health evaluation.
According to the Nye County Sheriff's Office, in March 2021, investigators learned that Matthew Ursua, a Pahrump resident who was working as a real estate agent, had been engaging in a course of conduct that made a local woman fear for her life. Police say Ursua posted on social media and sent private messages about using violence against women and abducting women by force. A case was opened and Ursua was wanted by the Nye County Sheriff's Office. The suspect turned himself in April of last year to face charges of aggravated stalking. Since then, Ursua's attorney, Michael Periente, has made several court appearances for Ursua. Monday morning, Ursua was in front of Judge Robert Lane regarding the case. The judge and Ursua's attorney agreed that the defendant would be going in for a mental health evaluation and return to court for an update in 2 weeks. Ursua also had worked in journalism. He had written a book in 2016 called Once I Was a Reporter. The book goes into the author's diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome, which he says degenerated into schizophrenia, and chronicles his struggle with mental illness. According to the synopsis, several women around Pahrump say they had reported unusual behavior to police. On his Facebook page were threats of sexual assault against certain individuals here in town. At this time, no one has reported any physical aggression or contact with Ursua.
And for full disclosure, Ursua did work here at KPVM for only a few days a few years ago. We'll be right back with much more news here at KPVM.
You're watching News 25, the most recognized and farthest-reaching local news in Nye County. News 25, local news you can count on.
Welcome back. Well, a cashier at a Tonopah casino is under arrest, accused of embezzling approximately $6,000. Brad Francis has more.
Rachel Yost has been booked into the Nye County Detention Center, where she faces one count of embezzlement between $5,000 and $25,000. On March 3rd, someone from Tonopah Station Casino called the sheriff's office to report that Yost had embezzled approximately $6,000 while she was working at the casino as a cashier and money handler. When deputies spoke with a casino supervisor, that person told officers Yost over the last 2 days had given large sums of money to people she knows in payouts the casino said were fraudulent. Tonopah Station Casino gave officers documentation showing those transactions. Prior to calling the sheriff's office, the casino called Yost, asking her to return the money she had given out. She returned with nearly $3,900, at which time she was placed under arrest for embezzlement. According to the arrest report, Yost told officers she got payout tickets from 2 friends she knows, and without checking to see if the tickets were valid, cashed out the tickets by manually entering them. When one of the officers asked Yost if she would verify a payout to him, she said yes, but the sheriff's office says Yost could not answer why she did not validate the payout for the 2 friends.
Well, in other news, Nevada students entering their senior year in 2022 will be required to have an additional vaccine in their school records before school begins. Effective July 1st of this year, students enrolled in the 12th grade throughout Nevada will be required to receive the meningitis vaccine prior to the start of the 2022-2023 school year.
And a report released Tuesday by the Las Vegas Realtors shows the local housing market continuing its run of record home prices and increasingly tight housing supply. LVR reported that the median price of existing single-family homes sold in Southern Nevada through its multiple listing service during February was $450,000. That tops the previous record set in January. The median home price is up 26.8% from $355,000 from 1 year ago.
And the Nye County Clerk's Office releases information for candidates looking to file in the upcoming election. The candidate filing period is now underway through this Friday, March 18th, and that last day you can file from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. at the county clerk's offices, which are closed on the weekends. Non-judicial seats up for election in Nye County include County Assessor, County Clerk, County Commission Districts 1, 4, and 5, County Public Administrator, County District Attorney, County Recorder, and County Treasurer. Nye County Sheriff and other county seats on the ballot include the Beatty General Improvement District, Beatty Water and Sanitation District, Nye County Hospital District, Nye County School Board of Trustees, Amargosa Valley Town Board, Round Mountain Town Board, and Tonopah Town Board. And you can visit the County Clerk election page for more information and a daily posting of those candidates. And you can also find that on our Facebook page. We'll be right back here at News 25.
You're watching News 25, brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500. News 25, local news you can count on.
Well, according to the Nevada Department of Employment, Training and Rehabilitation's January 2022 economic report, the state seasonally adjusted unemployment rate was 5.2% in January, which decreased by 0.1% from December. Seasonally adjusted estimates account for regularly seen employment patterns and changes stemming from things such as jobs associated with holiday hiring and holiday and weather seasons.
And an afternoon tea party and fashion show being held this weekend in Pahrump will benefit Never Forgotten Animal Society. Terry Rogers says it's just one of the many ways that Pahrump Moose Lodge 808 helps nonprofit organizations right here in our community.
We are doing a donation afternoon tea party and fashion show Sunday, March 12th at 2:00 p.m. It is a donation for the Never Forgotten Animal Society. They are a nonprofit animal rescue society. So they're actually opening up a new thrift store, and we wanted to help out doing a donation dinner, which the Moose does a lot. We do a lot of the different nonprofits and try to help money for that. So I happen to be on a committee, and there's going to be entertainment, and I think we're going to have some raffles too. And it's just an afternoon for everybody to come out and dress up and have fun and raise some money to help one of our organizations. Patty from Sunflower Fashions is going to provide those, and we have about 6 different models, all women in the town that have done the fashion shows. We will have some, I think, lots of desserts and different little luncheon type things. And we are, yes, helping Never Forgotten, but we are also going to award a prize for the most beautiful hat. Ooh. So.
Well, that afternoon tea party and fashion show to benefit Never Forgotten Animal Society is this Saturday, March 12th at 2 p.m. at the Pahrump Moose Lodge 808, located at 1100 2nd Street here in Pahrump. And as Terry mentioned, there is no admission charge, but donations will be accepted at the door.
Well, if you're book a trip for spring break, you may be wondering whether it's safe with COVID cases still circulating. But according to Dr. Joseph Cabaza with Cleveland Clinic, it's actually a lot safer to travel now than it was just a year ago.
The number of people vaccinated is much higher now than it was, in March of 2021. Again, that recent wave of Delta surge, Omicron surge, lots of people have gotten extra immunity through the infection route. So everything becomes safer that you do.
Dr. Cabaza says at this point it really comes down to personal risk. If you don't feel comfortable being around a lot of strangers, it's probably best to stay home or go somewhere more remote. For example, camping or renting a cabin could be a good alternative. As far as traveling goes, he says it's perfectly fine to fly, especially since masks are still being required on planes. You can also bring hand sanitizer with you. Another tip, check out the vaccination rates and infection rates for the place you are thinking about visiting. That might help sway your decision.
If you do have a loved one who's on chemotherapy or elderly or immunocompromised, I'd maybe lay low from them for that week or two after your trip, or if you're going to be around them, to just do a rapid test that morning, just as an extra layer of precaution to minimize the odds that of something you picked up from spring break might be transmitted to them.
If you haven't gotten vaccinated yet, there is still time. Dr. Cabaza says that it's going to be the best way to protect yourself and others from COVID-19.
And in educational news, a chance for a better education in a safe environment. It might seem strange that for some families, those two basics are simply out of reach. In some cities across the country, that unfortunately is the reality. However, in Washington, D.C., in a very dangerous neighborhood, one small school is changing that. Kim Martinez reports.
At my old school before I had transferred, I was getting A's and B's and actually getting on honor roll and everything. So I'm like, I'm smart, like, but coming here is like, wow, I couldn't even realize how behind I was.
What Antonio Porter discovered about his education after transferring to Washington, D.C.'s Cornerstone School is not unheard of for students from the notoriously underserved 7th and 8th wards in the nation's capital.
He thought he was doing pretty well, and he got to me, and I was like, okay, but you're not writing in full sentences consistently, or you're not always capitalizing. Like, really, things that should be fairly basic and according to the standards should be happening a lot earlier, he wasn't doing consistently.
Dean Elizabeth Selly says since those days, Antonio Porter, his twin sister Alexis, and little brother Antoine have come a very long way.
3 drops, and I want you guys to test how long it takes for it to actually diffuse.
As have other students who've made the switch to Cornerstone. Smaller classes, focused attention, teachers with time to help, it's all making a difference.
The school you were at before just did not give this to you. This isn't your fault.
Having a quality school in this rough area of D.C. is especially important to the Porter family since the majority of them live right around here.
I love that my family get to come and they can grow up with each other and walk the same halls as each other and go through the same trials and tribulations in the school as each other.
Several families at Cornerstone have multiple brothers, sisters, and cousins here. And in addition to giving them a good education, the school is a safe place in a rough area.
We also know that DC's highest concentration of violence is in wards 7 and 8. And I know a lot of students who have personally been affected by the violence in DC. Again, who may be in incredible families, but who can hear gunshots at night when they're in bed because of where they are.
Specifically for me, it's the environment. Like when I'm around my school and I'm walking, going home, or coming to school, I don't have to worry about the dangers that's outside of the building.
Thanks to Cornerstone, kids can stop focusing on survival and instead let their guard down and spend their day learning. Kim Martinez reporting.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
Well, let's take a look outside through our Lerner and Rowe weather cam. Yes, beautiful skies, lots of light. And speaking of light, we're springing forward this weekend, which means better weather. Closer look after the break.
News 25 weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. The splash of cream in your coffee, the dollop of sour cream on your burrito, the melted toasty cheese on your pizza. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
Hi, good evening, Nevada. It's John Kohler from the KPVM Channel 25 Weather Studios. Don't need a national holiday to fly a flag on your chest now, do you? No. 56 degrees up in Fernley, Fallon, and Carson City, and they're all under a light snow advisory up north. They're not having much fun today. Tonopah is even a little bit chillier at 47. Goldfield breaking out of the pack. Hey, look at you, 55. Beatty got 62. And Amargosa, the hot spot in the state today, 65 degrees. Vegas close behind at 63. And Death Valley, room temperature, 74 degrees. Very wonderful. All right, let's take a look at the current temperature here in the Paradise of Pahrump, 60 degrees. And it was 62 just a little bit earlier. Winds out of the west-southwest to 9 miles per hour, shaking the trees just a little bit much for my liking, but humidity at 15%, not too bad as the sun rose this morning at 6:04. And all its glory and promise for the hope of a new day, which is extinguishing itself at 5:45. No more promise. That's pretty much your day. There you go. We're heading down to a low tonight of 37 degrees, and the winds continuing out of the east to 5 miles per hour. And humidity index kicking up to 29% overnight. Does that mean clouds tomorrow? No, not tomorrow, but whoa, look at this coming at us Thursday. Bunch of wind, bunch of clouds, 25 mile per hour average gusts. That means we'll see some individual gusts up to like 40 miles per hour. Should be a little bit scary. That takes the temperature down to 53 degrees. Looks like we get a rapid recovery up to the mid 60s by Friday and all the way to the upper 70s by Monday, Tuesday. Some clouds coming, some clouds going, but Thursday's the big news. And we'll keep an eye on that for you and let you know if anything scarier appears. Back to the desk. Here's Deanna.
Thanks so much, John.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to hold on to our hats and our lawn
That's
furniture.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Everything.
Wind
Small
up
animals.
and down. Yeah. Weather, temperatures up and down, but it's still beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Super windy day tomorrow.
Yes.
And of course, on Thursday, even more so. It's going to be
right.
fantastic out there. Yay. That's
Yay.
sarcasm. All right. Thanks so much for joining us here on KPVM TV and Ace Country Radio. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Unat Gentry, and from all of us here at KPVM and Ace Country, we'll see you all next newscast, and thanks so much for joining us this evening.
Good night.
Good night.